Every decade since the 1930s, one American car has become the reference point. Not always the best seller, sometimes not even the rarest, the one everyone else gets measured against. The Duesenberg that sold for $22 million in 2018, the Oldsmobile that won the very first NASCAR season ever held, the Hemi Cuda that Chrysler stopped making before the government did it for them. 10 decades, 10 cars. Working forward from 1935 to a Corvette that pulls 8,400 revolutions per minute with a flat plane crank. The 30s first, 1935. Eric Cord ships one of two cars he just built in Indianapolis out to Gary Cooper on a factory loan. The other one goes to Clark Gable. They are the only two SSJs ever made. The Duesenberg story starts 7 years earlier than that, 1928. The Model J shows up at the New York Salon, a bare chassis priced at $8,500 before a coach builder ever touched it. The engine was the reason the car existed. A 420 cubic inch dual overhead cam straight 8, built by Lycoming, with 4 valves per cylinder. The Duesenberg made 265 horsepower naturally aspirated. Add a centrifugal supercharger and it became the SJ at 320. The short wheelbase SSJ used a twin carburetor ram's horn intake, pushing the output to roughly 400 horsepower. Only 36 were supercharged SJs. Only 2 were SSJs. Fred Duesenberg, the engineer behind the engine, passed away in 1932 from pneumonia after wrecking his own SJ. Eric Cord's company fell apart 5 years later, and the Duesenberg factory was taken with it. Then the war came. Oldsmobile drops a brand new overhead valve V8 into the smaller of its 2 car bodies and invents the muscle car template. The engine was called the Rocket, 303 cubic inches, overhead valve, hydraulic lifters, 2-barrel carburetor, 135 horsepower. The body it landed in was the General Motors A body, shared with Chevrolet and Pontiac. So, you had the Oldsmobile 98's engine in a car nearly 350 pounds lighter than the 98 itself. The result was the fastest American car you could walk into a showroom and buy, 0 to 60 in about 13 seconds, top speed around 100 miles per hour. The first NASCAR season ever held happened that same year. Red Byron won the championship in a Rocket 88, winning 5 of the 8 races run that season. Today, a nice driver-quality Rocket 88 sometimes goes for less than a used family sedan. The 50s, 1957. Chevrolet was supposed to launch an all-new car that year and didn't get there. So they kept the 1955 body for a third model year, spent the money on chrome and trim, and bumped the small block from 265 cubic inches to 283. With a hot cam and solid lifters, that engine made 283 horsepower at 6,200 revolutions per minute. About 1,530 Ramjet-equipped cars were built across all body styles, out of roughly 1.5 million 1957 Chevrolets total. Engineers at Smokey Yunick's shop, working with the factory, dropped the same fuel-injected engine into stripped-down 150 utility sedans painted black and white. The cars became known as the Black Widows. They were so dominant on short-track NASCAR that race officials banned mechanical fuel injection and superchargers from stock car racing partway through 1957. The 1957 Chevy is the one that has stayed in the public eye. A clean, fuel-injected Bel Air convertible at Concours level can clear $300,000 at top auctions. The 2-door Fuelie sedan, which is the actual Black Widow shape, is the most prized version. The Black Widow program was, by 1958, a memory. 1963. Henry Ford II tries to buy Ferrari, and the deal falls apart. Enzo Ferrari walks out at the last minute over a clause limiting his racing freedom. Ford goes home angry and writes a check to build a car that will beat Ferrari at Le Mans by any means necessary. The car was the GT40. The 40 referred to the roof height in inches. Carroll Shelby took over the racing program from John Wyer at the end of '64. Ken Miles was the development driver and the only one who could keep doing fast laps without breaking the car. For 1966, they fitted a 427 cubic inch FE side oiler V8, the same engine Ford was running in NASCAR Galaxies. At Le Mans 1966, Ford finished 1, 2, 3. Bruce McLaren and Chris Amon were officially credited with the win, with Ken Miles and Denny Hulme officially second. Ford's executives ordered Miles to slow down in the final hours so all 3 cars could cross the line together. Miles slowed. He was awarded second on the rule that McLaren had started further back on the grid and therefore covered slightly more distance over the same 24 hours. 2 months later, Miles never came back from a test at Riverside in the J car that would become the Mark IV. The GT40 program had defended Ford's honor against Enzo Ferrari, which by the start of the next decade was already an old fight. The next car was the one Detroit could not protect from itself. The 70s. The peak. 1970, to be exact. The model year that produced the most expensive American muscle car ever sold at public auction. The Cuda was the third-generation Plymouth Barracuda on Chrysler's E-body platform. The hero engine option was the 426 Hemi V8. A street version of the engine Chrysler had built for NASCAR back in 1964 when a Hemi Plymouth finished 1, 2, 3, 4 at Daytona. NASCAR responded by demanding that the engine appear in production cars before they would allow Chrysler to keep racing it. That rule is the reason the street Hemi exists. The factory rating was 425 horsepower at 5,000 revolutions per minute and 490 pound-feet of torque. For 1970, 666 Hemi Cuda hardtops were built, 14 convertibles. Across both 1970 and 71 model years combined, the total is about 780 cars. 21 of those are convertibles. If you've made it this far and you're not subscribed, the rest of the channel runs in this exact format. Vintage American cars, the engineering, the people. 1987. Buick's rear-drive G-body Regal is about to be stopped. The whole platform is moving to front-wheel drive for 1988. The marketing department wants a farewell car. What they built was the GNX, Grand National Experimental. 547 units, every one of them rebuilt by ASC McLaren in Livonia, Michigan. No tops, no sunroof, no manual gearbox option. Turbo Hydromatic 204R automatic only. The engine was a 3.8-liter turbocharged V6 with a Garrett T3 turbocharger using a ceramic impeller. Factory rated at 276 horsepower and 360 pound-feet of torque. The GNX was the last rear-drive performance car Buick ever produced. The 90s. Chrysler at the end of the 80s is a company built on K-cars, minivans, and the TC by Maserati. The Viper concept appeared at the Detroit Auto Show in January 1989. Lee Iacocca was not fully sold on it, and he sat on the $70 million development budget before he gave it the green light. The car launched to customers in January 1992. The RT-10 was an open roadster with a tubular space frame chassis, fiberglass body panels, and a removable canvas top. It had no airbags, no anti-lock brakes, no traction control, no outside door handles, and no glass windows, just zip-in vinyl side curtains. The side exit exhaust would burn passengers' legs if they were not careful getting out. The engine was an 8-liter all-aluminum V10. The block and heads were reworked by Lamborghini Engineering, which was owned by Chrysler at the time. 400 horsepower at 4,600 revolutions per minute. 465 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. Quarter mile in 12.6 at 113 miles per hour. Top speed around 165. Chrysler later built the GTS Coupe version and ran a factory racing program. The Viper GTSR won the GT2 class at the 24 Hours of Le Mans 3 years running, 1998 through 2000. The car had a messy ending. It was stopped in 2010 during the Chrysler bankruptcy, brought back in 2013, and shut down for good in August 2017. The reason given was that it couldn't meet incoming federal side curtain airbag rules. The 2000s. Bill Ford Jr. takes over as chairman in 1999 and decides the company needs a halo car for the Ford Motor Company 100th anniversary. Camilo Pardo in Ford's Living Legends design studio, working under Jay Mays, draws what is more or less an updated GT40. Within 6 weeks of the concept showing at the Detroit Auto Show in 2002, production is greenlit. Built in Wixom, Michigan. Engines built at Ford's Romeo plant. The center tunnel was friction stir welded, which was a Ford first. The engine was a 5.4-liter aluminum V8 with an Eaton twin-screw supercharger, 550 horsepower at 6,500 revolutions per minute. The Ferrari F430 of the day made 490 horsepower. The Ford GT outran it on every published measure and cost about $47,000 less at the showroom. The 2010s. Tim Kuniskis, head of Dodge inside Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, runs a 14-week pre-launch teaser campaign through the spring of 2017. The Demon was a 1-year-only production run, 3,300 cars across the United States and Canada, beginning deliveries in November 2017 as a 2018 model. Base price was $84,995, including the gas guzzler tax. The Demon crate of extra performance parts cost $1. The front passenger seat delete and the rear seat delete were also $1 each. The engine was the 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi V8 from the Hellcat, but with 97 new parts, including a larger 2.7-liter supercharger. 840 horsepower at 6,300 revolutions per minute on race fuel, 770 pound-feet of torque. The National Hot Rod Association does not allow any car to race in official racing with a quarter-mile time quicker than 10 seconds without a roll cage and proper safety gear. A stock Demon clears that mark straight from the dealer. Dodge marketed the car as banned by the association. The association, to put it lightly, was not pleased with the framing. In March 2022, they changed their street-legal program rules to allow late-model production cars to run as quick as 9 seconds, basically making the Demon legal 4 years after launch. The Demon was the last factory drag racing car of the gas engine era. The 2020s, the final entry. 2023, Chevrolet launches the first mid-engined Z06 in Corvette history. The engine is the LT6, 5.5 liters, naturally aspirated, dual overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder with a flat plane crankshaft. 670 horsepower at 8,400 revolutions per minute. It is the strongest naturally aspirated V8 ever placed in a production car. Hand-built at the Performance Build Center inside the Bowling Green Assembly Plant in Kentucky. The car has a Tremec 8-speed dual-clutch automatic. No manual transmission is offered, which the message boards have had several years to process. With the optional 07 performance package, the car weighs about 3,434 pounds. The chief engineer is Taj Juechter, who has run the Corvette program since 2006. He oversaw the switch to the mid-engine layout for the C8, which is the design Zora Arkus Duntov had been pushing for since the 1960s. The flat-plane crank engine is an even older Duntov idea brought to life, the Serve 3 concept. About 50 years late, but it finally arrived. Original sticker price for a coupe was $106,395, including destination. 10 cars, 10 decades, each one built into a different America, some by hand, some by mass production, all by engineers who were not exactly trying to be careful. A Duesenberg cost about as much as a small apartment building when it was new and is worth a high-rise now. A Rocket 88 paced Indianapolis in 1949, and you can still buy one for less than a used Camry. A Hemi Cuda built for the 1970 model year is worth more than most homes in the country. A new Z06 is more or less a Ferrari from the factory, at a third of the price, with a bowling green build sheet on it. The names roll forward. Duesenberg, Oldsmobile, Chevrolet, Ford, Plymouth, Buick, Dodge, Ford again, Dodge again, Chevrolet again. Some of those brands are gone. Some of those cars are gone. Some of them are still on the showroom floor, and a few have one foot in a museum already. If you stuck around for the whole list, the next video on the channel covers the cars Detroit is building right now that nobody has a final answer on yet. We will get there when we get there.